Thank you for tuning in yet again. Like I said, today is Monday, July 6th, and July 6th is my birthday. So happy birthday to me. Yay! And as always, in Japan, it seems like, well, I think one year my birthday fell on a weekend, but almost every other year that I've been here, I've just worked on my birthday. One year I was at my English camp. That was fun. But I don't make a big deal out of birthdays. And the only reason I'm really mentioning it here, not to just garner happy birthday comments, which, you know, I'm happy if you leave those, is because a lot of people ask me about being an older jet. So I turned 40 today, 40 years old. I was born in 1969. And okay, moving on. So what is it like being an older jet? Well, first of all, the vast majority of people that come over on the JET program are in their 20s. The biggest demographic slice is like 23 to 27. You know, finished university and not quite set on their career path yet kind of people are the biggest people that apply to the program and get selected. Obviously, they want younger people, but they don't discriminate. I mean, I came over, I applied when I was 34 and got accepted, etc. And I turned 35 in July, like 3 weeks before I flew to Japan. So when I arrived in Japan, I was 35. And I was not the oldest jet in Shimane at that time. There were a few jets older than me, you know, a little bit older in their 30s. But there were probably, of the, say, 120 jets that were in Shimane in my prefecture in 2004, 2005, my guess is only about 10 of us were over the age of 30. The rest of everybody was in their 20s. So, what does that mean? Well, you know, it comes down to socializing, right? I think that's what the gist of your questions are, the people that have sent me PMs about this. How will you fit in with all these other younger people? And I think socializing when you're a jet, there's so many other factors that influence that age doesn't really play into it that much. Other things about me have influenced my ability to like have friends and make friends much more than my age. Things like the fact that I don't drink alcohol. You're going to meet a lot of jets. As an American, you're going to meet a lot of jets from the UK, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, other countries where I call it pub culture. You know, the going out, the casual going out and having a drink and being at the bar, which I think is a little different than it is in America. Americans tend to go out to drink to get drunk. Not always, you know, these are generalizations. Whereas Europeans and Australians, etc., it's just part of their culture to go down to the pub and have a beer, etc. And that's just not part of my social circle when I was still in America. I wasn't friends with people who drank either, really. Of course, you know, growing up, going to college, etc., I was around that. But I guess, you know, as I got older and started to choose my closer circle of friends, I tended not to be around people like that. So that, I think, influenced my socialization with other jets much more than my age. I don't smoke, so that I think actually didn't turn off some Japanese coworkers at first, but we would go out and all of the other male adult Japanese men that I would go out to, say, barbecue or karaoke or something with smoked. And I didn't say anything at first, but you know, the guy that kind of would invite me along knew that I was uncomfortable with it, and so I think I just started to get invited out less by that group. You know, those kind of factors I think are more have bigger influence than my age. I don't really feel like an adult a lot of the times, to be honest. You know, a lot of the trappings of being an adult I haven't really done in my life. I've never been married. I don't have children. I don't own a home. I came to JET at a very interesting time in my life. It was perfect timing, and it was the perfect move for me to make at that time. But yeah, so I think if you come over as an older jet in your 30s already, and you've been married and been divorced, or you're married currently, or you have kids, or that brings with it a whole different set of baggage and life expectations with it than me, by myself, living alone. It has been the first time I'd lived by myself. That was another interesting thing. For a long time, I had lived with, roommates, and then I'd lived with my longtime girlfriend for a long time. And then when I went back to school for the 2 years to get my degree right before coming on Jet, I lived with my sister and my niece. So yeah, living alone was an adjustment. But I should stay on topic, I'm sorry. So being older, what else? Certainly your students don't care. I am so over the top Genki, and I do so much for my kids that they I mean, I went around today and the teachers kind of whispered, oh, it's Jason's birthday today. And the kids would always come up to me, Nansai desu ka? Nansai? Which means, how old are you? And I would joke and go, 16, which means I'm 16. And they'd be, no, uso. And so I would ask them to guess. And they almost invariably always guess like 28, 33. A couple of them would be cheeky and guess like, 49 or something. But not a lot of them think that I'm, 40, that I'm in my late 30s, which I guess I can't say anymore. And I think I just, I have a lot of energy. I'm an outgoing person. Not that, you're 40 and you instantly get old, but so I think, the cliche, you're as young as you feel, you're as young as you let people think you are. I work with a lot of young people. I work with shogakusei who are, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. Chugakusei who are up to 15. And I think just doing that keeps me young, being around all that youthful energy. So, I don't sip wine and check the stock market and do adult things. I like comic books, and I like to listen to J-pop and know what the kids are interested in, and I try to stay connected to what is current. Now, at the same time, I mean, I'm not 21. I've been around, and I bring some experience, and I think that part of it has helped. And I hope I'm not going way over my time already. I think teachers' attitude toward me maybe be a little different because I am more mature in years, not necessarily in attitude. I treat the job like a job. I'm very professional. I'm on time. I dress properly when I go places. I don't go out to jet events and get drunk. I treat the job with respect, and I demand respect in return, for the job that I do. So that part of being older, perhaps. I didn't think of Jet as an opportunity to visit Japan and take a year-long vacation with this teaching thing on the side. But that's the subject of a whole nother vlog. So sometimes I think you will get respect because you will be older than some of your teachers that you work with, for sure. That has often been the case with me. And the most often comment I get about my age from my kids is, wait, you're 38, or you're 39? Wow, my mom is 39, or oh, my dad is 38. I get that all the time. You would not believe. And I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. But it's true. I could be the parent of any of my students. Whereas if you're 22 or 23, just out of university, some of you will get placed in a high school where the students are 17 and 18, only 4 or 5 years younger than you. And that is so not my experience. I can't even relate to that. So you would have to ask another vlogger about that. But, I was 35 when I got here, so I feel like I'm still 35. I don't feel like I've aged these past 5 years. I'm sure my face, it looks like I have. Yeah, being an older jet isn't that much of a worry. The biggest thing about relating to the other jets, another thing, is not going to necessarily be, that I'm 10 or 15 years older than these people, because we all watch The Simpsons, we all listen to the same music, basically, etc. It's when you meet jets from other countries and you don't have that shared cultural thing. You know, a jet from South Africa doesn't necessarily know about, you know, something that's going on in California or American pop culture. Just like you're not going to know about Australian pop culture or what's, you know, how you say things and do things in New Zealand. So that has been more of a learning thing. And when we go to parties and stuff, age just doesn't factor into it. Okay, I'm probably out of time. I guess the last thing would be dating, which I've talked about before. It is much more difficult, in my opinion, if you're my age, just because there's such a pressure for women to get married here in their 20s. So by the time you're 35 and I came over, and if I wanted to date someone in their 30s, especially in a rural area like Shimane, they're all already married or living like in Tokyo and having a career. So it was very hard to find single women my age. But again, the cultural differences, I think, trump the age, and you could date someone that's 25 and it wouldn't matter necessarily. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there. I know that rambled a bit. Thanks for watching as always, and more on the way soon. Peace.